What's up, YouTube? Jeff, your Style O.G. And on today's video, I've got my recommendations for the 15 best cheap date ideas. If you're new to the channel, we release a new video every Monday, Thursday, and Saturday at 4 p.m. Eastern, discussing various men's lifestyle topics such as style, grooming, and dating. I invite you to subscribe, tap the notification bell, and join us. And to my returning friends like Eric Arston, salute. Now don't get me wrong, I'm just as big a fan of the extravagant romantic gesture or a great dinner at your town's fanciest restaurant as anybody. But sometimes that just isn't in the card. If you do that too many times, you're subject to go broke. But that doesn't mean you can't go out on a nice date. And that's what I want to talk about on today's video. On today's video, I've got 15 inexpensive or cheap dates that, although they won't break your pockets, you and your lady will have a great time. So without any further delay, let's hop into my recommendations for the 15 best cheap date ideas. Next up on the list is an idea I recommend not just because it'll save a couple bucks, but I also think it's the best first date idea. Go to your local coffee shop. Emphasis on local. Here's the thing. On the first date, you want it to be quiet. You want it to be intimate. You want it to be simple. And if either one of you guys really don't like each other, you can easily get out of there. But I especially suggest a local coffee shop. That's because your local coffee shop, as opposed to your chain ones, will have more unique offerings, different decor, and details you won't find at those chain coffee shops. You'll have time to get to know each other, talk quietly, and it won't break your pocket. Love a local coffee shop for a great, inexpensive date. The next idea is one of my personal favorites. It allows you to get out, have some exercise and some fun, and get a little close to your date. You want to do a sporting type activity. I'm thinking driving range, batting cage, or maybe bowling. These are all great fun dates that don't cost a lot, but allow you to get close while you show off your form. And it's great when you're on a date to have an activity to do. It allows the fun to flow. Inexpensive, and you get to show off your athletic ability, try out those batting cages, bowling, or the driving range. Next up on the list is another idea that I love because it allows you to get outside. Grab a quick bite from a local food truck. Food trucks, in my opinion, have some of the best bang for your buck when it comes to getting something to eat. And the great thing about them, there's a wide variety of styles of foods you can choose from. And on top of that, you're definitely not going to spend a whole lot of money at a food truck. It allows you both to get outside, enjoy the weather, and get a great bite to eat. Love the idea of a food truck. Next up is one of my favorite ideas when you've been in a relationship for quite a while. I don't recommend this one for a first date. If you've been with your wife or your partner for a while, go out and look at model homes. What I love about model homes, especially ones that you might not be able to afford now, it allows you guys to dream together. It's a great fun way to think about building towards the future. One of my favorite cheap ideas for a serious couple, love going to check out model homes. Next up on the list is an idea I'm going to assume is right down your alley because you're watching a style channel. I highly recommend you and your lady go thrifting, especially if she's into style as well. This is a very fun way for you both to add 1 or 2 pieces to your wardrobe. And of course, when you're going thrifting, you can load up on stuff for very little money. And what I like about going thrifting, it allows both of you to go out of your comfort zone. Recommend something for her she might not usually try, something you might want to see her in. And she can do the same for you. It can be a whole lot of fun coming up on some hidden treasures at your local Goodwill. A great inexpensive date, go thrifting. Next up on the list is a date idea that happens to be a personal favorite of my lady and myself, regardless of the cost. We love checking out wineries. Now, the great thing about going to a winery, most of the time they have tasting specials that cost little to nothing. Both will get to sample a wide range of wines, and afterwards you might grab a bottle or 2 to take home. And another great thing about going to the winery, it's usually going to be very scenic, very picturesque. And afterwards, a lot of times you'll be able to sit outside, sip your wine, and enjoy the day. Highly recommend for any couple out there, a great inexpensive date, going to a winery. Next up on the list is a great date idea that won't cost you anything, but it allows both of you to give to others. I highly recommend volunteering together. Volunteering, whether you do it by yourself or with your lady, is very rewarding. It allows you to do for others, and it's an even better feeling when you do it together. Now, the charity is up to you. Doing for others together is such a rewarding experience. It allows you to help others, and I found it brings a couple closer. Next up on the list is another activity I could have included on the first one about sporting activities. Go out and play catch, whether football or baseball. Grab a couple of gloves, throw that baseball back and forth. Or you can grab the pigskin, show off your arm back in high school when you had the 4 touchdowns against Polk High. And hey, your lady might surprise you. She might have a great arm and be able to catch as well. Very fun, very flirty, and of course, again, you get to show off your athletic ability. A great fun date, go out and play catch. Next up on the list is a great idea if you want to have a way for your lady to get to know you a little better. Show her the neighborhood you grew up in. This is a great way to let someone in. Take her to where you were a kid. Show her all the great spots you remember. And it will also allow you to talk about some memories you may not have shared yet. It allows your lady to get a much better insight into you. It allows you to share a part of you she may not have been aware of. Of course, this won't cost you anything, and I think it's a great intimate date. It allows her in, get to know you better, and for you to relive some great childhood memories. The next cheap date idea piggybacks very well off the last one. This time, you guys should try to explore a new neighborhood together. Whether it's a neighborhood neither one of you guys have been to before, or an older neighborhood that's done some developing since you last trekked over there. It's a great way to see new things about your town together. And for my guys out there that have been in a relationship for quite a while, you probably tend to do the same things over and over. Exploring a new neighborhood allows you to open up your dating possibilities. It's always fun and exciting to discover new things together. Grab your lady and go check out a new neighborhood. Next up on the list is a great way to check out that new neighborhood together. And another great outdoor activity. You and your lady should go bike riding. Now, one of the things I love to do with my lady around Philly is renting a bike and go riding. A lot of cities nowadays prioritize bike lanes, and there's a bunch of companies that rent out bikes. This is actually something I just did this previous weekend, and it was a bunch of fun. And on top of that, I want to say the bike rentals all together cost me around 20 to 30 bucks. We got some exercise in, explored a new area in town. Definitely can't beat bike riding for a great, inexpensive date idea. Next up on the list is a classic date idea that I found to be quite inexpensive. Go check out your local art museum or gallery. Like I said, this is a classic date idea. A great way for you guys to go out and look at some art, get cultured. And what you'll find, a lot of times museums or galleries have discount days. I've easily found tickets in my museums for around 10 bucks on these discount days. And depending on how much you and your lady are into art, you can spend hours exploring. The classic date idea, very romantic and inexpensive. Check out your local art museum. Next up on the list is a date idea that's an absolute blast. You can always have a great time for not that much going to karaoke night. And what I love about karaoke, the worse singer you are, the better. Nobody has an excuse not to go up there and have fun. And it's easy to find karaoke night at places like your local bar. You might only have to spring for a drink or two. It's that inexpensive. Both can have a great time listening to each other sing your favorite songs off key. Tons of fun, and it won't cost you a lot. Definitely head out to karaoke night. Next up on the list is a great inexpensive date ideas for my animal lovers out there. Why don't you guys go to your local zoo? Go check out the lions, the tigers, and the chimpanzees. It's not gonna cost you a lot. And I personally love going to the zoo to learn more about nature and animals. And as you may already know, a lot of ladies are animal lovers. And going to the zoo is usually very inexpensive. Of course, it'll vary depending on what town you live. And a great side note, after you leave, you'll smell much better to her than those animals did. And last but certainly not least on my list of the 15 best cheap date ideas is a great one if you can cook at all, especially if you have a signature dish. Make dinner at home for your lady. This can be quite romantic. Pull out your best meal, light a few candles, play some romantic music, turn the traditional tables. Now I must caution you, I don't recommend this idea for a first date. Not only is it cheap, it'll come out cheap if you try to cook at home for a first date. But a third, fourth, or maybe a long-term relationship, this can be very romantic. And the only damage will be the cost of the food itself. Very romantic, very intimate. Definitely love the idea of cooking dinner at home for your lady. Okay, so there you have it. My recommendations for the 15 best cheap date ideas. Let me know in the comment section if you have a great recommendation for an inexpensive date idea. As always, I hope you enjoyed the video. If so, hit that like button. Helps the channel to grow. And of course, tap that notification bell so you don't miss any of the videos we release every Monday, Thursday, and Saturday at 4 p.m. Eastern. And I'll check you out next time.